Welcome to Bad Gear, the show about the world's most hated audio tools. Back in the day when synth nerds had to walk 10 miles in the snow uphill both ways to get wasted and play their gear, the term Gamechanger had a completely different meaning. Today we are going to talk about the very first Emu Proteus. This 1989 dumbed down offspring of the Emulator sampler range not only made their iconic tones more accessible, its presets also burned themselves into the global pop cultural consciousness. At the first glance, this ancient rec unit is ticking all the
Hi, I'm Troy McClure. You might remember me from such public service videos as
Barney and the Backyard Gang, Ali G, Crash Bandicoot and Body Bags boxes. If you want to recreate classics like the X-Files whistle, that one GoldenEye percussion sound and the entire soundtrack of the Teletubbies, you will have to resort to its successors though. The synth equivalent to canned food comes with a nutritional value of shelf-stable strings, protein-rich choir samples, organic vitamin B3 supplements, homeopathic Rolandiosis D50 drops, frozen basses, TV dinner drums, a generous board of Romplet cheese, the foundations of the food pyramid, and a low-calorie piano. The engine used to deliver this takeout meal for Synthwave preppers is as simple as they come. Every patch consists of a primary and a secondary instrument that can be blended, pitched independently, reversed. You can change the sample start point, there's a comparably complex amp envelope, 2 LFOs, and another envelope which is more or less freely routable. That's all. No real synthesis, no filters and no effects except for a Midi based on-off chorus, seriously reducing the total polyphony of 32. While all this might seem a little underwhelming by today's standards, the instrument was optimized for the budget-conscious working musician and composer. Full 16-channel multitimbrality with well-thought-out layer, and split facilities, and a modulation section tailor-made for actual keyboardists capable of shaping sounds with playing dynamics, mono and poly aftertouch. Speaking of the peculiar needs of yesteryear's pros, the versatile Midi implementation and 6 outputs are great for integrating Proteus into an analog environment and even let you insert outboard gear directly into the unit. Nice. The simplicity of the instrument allows for a somewhat straightforward menu diving experience, and the manual is actually helpful. There are 3 generations of Protei. All instruments from the first generation are very similar to this one, but equipped with different and/or more samples. Generation 2 comes with a really nice filter, and Generation 3 is a completely different beast. It seems like you can upgrade the 4 megs of internal sample memory of the Proteus 1 to 8. Leave a comment if you know more about it. The instrument is easy to find on the used market, prices are still moderate, and the entire history of Proteus sounds is legally available in software form. In spite of its limited sound design facilities, Proteus 1 was a game changer for 90s music and beyond. Is it still relevant today or just dead weight in the 19-inch racks of nostalgic boomers? You have already heard Proteus in today's intro tune. Kids, this is how the 90s actually sounded like. Let's start this out with some retro console spy game music. Now I wanna eat Dunkaroos and drink Surge. Even if you're not an Emu connoisseur, most of these patches will sound familiar, and the strings aged surprisingly well. Proteus 1 made somewhat believable acoustic tones available to the electronic music producers of the early 90s. Time to add a drum break and push the nostalgia even further. While the more Rolandian sounds are not on par with the D50, the classic Emu patches crank the nostalgia to 11, especially when doused in massive amounts of reverb and delay. I wanna know how well Proteus performs in this retro wave soundtrack for a TV show that was produced for the sole purpose of selling action figures and other merch. Proteus 1 was indeed a game changer. Its sounds are all over 90s media, and while both the underlying samples and the structure of the instrument are primitive, seasoned players and engineers were able to churn out believable tones with basic playing techniques and recording studio tricks. That being said, key features like multi-timbrality and slightly less annoying menu diving have lost much of their relevance, and I would probably recommend a contemporary software sample player for actual music production or more upscale original Proteus for nostalgia core. Speaking of, I'm surprised that Uli Behringer hasn't yet bought the right to the samples of the entire Proteus range in order to release a $149 Proteus. Of course not. Uli doesn't buy rights. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Feel free to like, subscribe, become a patron and use one of the links down below that support the channel regardless of what your bad gear gas commands you to buy.